So we are moving into an eclipse happening at the 29th mastery degree of Virgo. We're going to talk about what that means, especially for how you bring your creative and spiritual gifts into form and service in the world. That's one of the themes that this second eclipse in the series we've been in is wrapping up. We're going to look at what this means, how to work with it, what you are processing that's completing now from the past 2 weeks, but also from the past 6 months. I'm also going to give you a couple of practices to work with this energy and move through the really intense transformational space that's happening with the eclipse this weekend. We've got Pluto involved, which is about really deep transformational change, and also Uranus, which brings really fast, sudden change. So there may be some unexpected shifts that happen with these next few days. We're going to lean into all this change, breathe with it, and understand what's happening. So let's pause for a moment and back up to 2 weeks ago. We had an eclipse in Pisces. So this is the second of two eclipses that happened on the Virgo Pisces cusp, the Virgo Pisces polarity. And this series of eclipses is like a reset in the connection you have to your intuition and creativity and your spiritual connection, but not just being connected out there. It's all about how you connect it into being a human and the very granular day-to-day life and nitty-gritty that we go through as humans on the planet. How do you integrate this? How do you live out this massive, unlimited truth of who you are while showing up in the day-to-day world? That's the theme of the Pisces and Virgo energy. You are connected to everything. All is love. All is one. And also, you got to show up on time and get the details and bring things into form in very practical, structured ways. So we had the first of these two eclipses 2 weeks ago. And you may want to look back at these past couple of weeks. What themes have been arising for you, especially around your connection to your creativity, intuition, spirituality, and how that gets worked out very practically in service to the world. This second eclipse, the one that's happening this weekend, is happening at the 29th degree of Virgo. The 29th degree is the mastery degree. It's the final degree in the sign. And it's like, this is the moment to get it. This is the moment to bring your A game, to show up fully with what's being asked of you, to the high standards that are being asked. And what's being asked here? Well, it's a release moment and a reset and a completion of whatever you've been in for the past 2 weeks, especially around bringing your gifts, bringing your connection to your intuition, spirituality, creativity into form in the world. What's been in the way? What needs to be released for you to more fully show up, bringing what you're here to bring that the world needs at this time? Virgo is all about precision and mastery and excellence and setting and holding high standards. And Virgo is also about the physical body and health and about your daily routines. Obviously, these are all connected. What you do with your body, how you take care of yourself, your day-to-day, doing everything you do, these are all related. So I want to invite you to think about what has been coming forward for you, maybe in the area of self-care, of your health, and how this relates to who you're being as a divine being in human form, showing up day to day. What wants to release with this eclipse for you to more fully live out who you are meant to be? Are you fully owning that creative power that you are? If there's anything that is in the way of you fully embodying that, what is that that's ready to be released at this time? You can also look back to the past 6 months, to March of 2025, when the last eclipses were, and just notice what has changed for you, what has shifted, What's ready to go? Who are you now that is different than you were March of 2025? And how is that version of you ready to show up in a more full way? We have several aspects that intensify this even stronger. This is a pretty big eclipse. This is not a small moment. If the A game requirement around spirituality and daily practical service wasn't enough with this polarity already, these exact same themes are emphasized by the fact that Neptune and Saturn are both directly across the zodiac opposing this full moon. So Neptune is your spiritual connection, and Saturn is the teacher, the authority, and the requirement for you to show up diligently and do the work. So, with these two in opposition to the eclipse, like facing off, it's like a demand to meet these energies, like to meet anywhere that, if there's anything you've been avoiding, resisting, suppressing, not wanting to look at, it's going to come forward and be met now. At the same time as the eclipse, Mars, which rules our physical body, energy, drive, ambition, is at his own 29-degree mastery moment. So Mars is at 29 degrees of Libra. Libra is all about relationships, balance and harmony, and the way we meet the world as the other. So there may be themes of relationships showing up, especially meeting your needs versus others. Since it's Mars, there may be some very strong, fiery, intense, passionate stuff going on. Maybe that looks like temper. Maybe that looks like just a lot of energy. So this is going to vary, especially depending how it hits your personal chart. But you may want to look at whatever relationship themes are coming forward and what is asking to be released in that realm as well. What are you ready to let go of? And we'll do a practice together in just a moment to release this together. This eclipse is also in a trine with Pluto. Pluto is the shadow, the underworld, the deepest possible transformation, death and rebirth. Now, it's a trine. The eclipse is in a trine with Pluto, and a trine is a powerful flow of often supportive, helpful energy. It can feel like a lot, but it's not like an obstacle energy. It's not like running into a problem so much, more just like a lot of energy pouring through. So, this eclipse that's asking this release of you is powerfully supported by your willingness to surrender into whatever needs to let go. And it may take you to some very deep places because Pluto is again the ultimate transformation, taking you to those depths of whatever truly needs to be met, felt, released. Think of like the gates to the basement being opened and all of the shadow material that needs to be faced gets faced. That's present in this eclipse too. So there is some very deeply transformational opportunity here when you're willing to meet whatever is showing up. And so much of astrology is about that. It just puts a language and a framework to what's already happening that you might not see, that you might not be in touch with. But when you can start to get a sense of, oh, yes, I'm meeting some shadow material there. I'm being triggered in my relationship here. I'm being asked to release this old belief or pattern or situation or relationship. And when you can come into contact with this consciously, then you can make the choices that open up the energy for so much more to come in. So, top it all off, we have another trine going on with Uranus over at 1 degree of Gemini. And Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus shakes us awake, often with unexpected twists and turns and pivots. But Uranus, remember, is all about waking you up to your higher consciousness. So if any unexpected changes or out of the blue curveballs come in, you can breathe in to knowing that this is here to wake you up to higher consciousness in some way. Breathing into it, not resisting, looking at whatever needs to be met, felt, released. And once again, we are looking at how you show up as the spiritual creative being mastering your human experience is the underlying theme here. So you've got the powerful support of Pluto when you're willing to meet that deep stuff. You've got the lightning fast support of Uranus bringing in the visions from the future, the not yet here yet, to wake you up and shake you awake to your higher consciousness. And all of this is connected in a beautiful grand trine saying, you've got this. This is deep, transformational, powerful change. Show up and meet it. So let's talk about how do we show up and meet this. I like bringing this stuff as practical as we can. Let me give you a couple of reflection questions or journaling prompts if you like to journal, and a bit of a framework to meet this energy together. First thing I'll invite you to look at is, where on the spectrum of Pisces, Virgo energy have I been mastering? Quick review of what that means. Pisces energy is spiritual connection, creative flow, love, all is one, bliss. But the shadow side could be falling into illusion, rose-colored glasses that aren't looking at what really needs to be done, falling into even addictive behaviors or processes. These are all the shadow sides of Pisces energy. So what's your relationship to Pisces energy? Is there anywhere that needs to be released in the form of addictions or illusion or not looking at what you need to look at? And also, what's your relationship to Virgo energy, which is all about mastery, excellence, precision, clarity, detail, organization, high standards, and also taking care of the health and the physical body. Virgo energy at its highest is all about high service, bringing that creativity into form in a very practical, clear way. And the shadow side of Virgo can be criticalness, obsession with overanalyzing, getting bogged down in the details, rigidity, a loss of that Pisces flow. So notice your relationship to Virgo energy, both the light and the shadow, if you will, and notice what, if anything, wants to be mastered there. And then you can notice where these two meet. Your connection to that flow, your connection to the details, the granularity, the precision, how they blend uniquely in you, and what anywhere in that spectrum wants to be released for you to flow through more fully, with more ease, with more joy, in pure ease of being and service to the world in these rapidly changing times. I'll invite you to notice that if you want to journal on this a bit. What have you been mastering as you integrate the highest possible flow and connection of these two energies? And you may have more clarity on this than you did 2 weeks ago if you looked at it then in the eclipse of a couple of weeks back. So, what are you mastering? What are you ready to release? What are you willing to look at and willing to see and feel, maybe for the first time or maybe in a different way? And remember that you are radically supported in this. So notice if there is something coming to mind right now, and if you'd like to walk through a brief process with me, I'll guide you in just a bit of somatic work, because meeting this in the body is where it's at, especially when the Virgo energy is involved here. So if there's something that you're aware of that's ready to be released, or that is like, oh yes, that's coming to my attention, I'm going to invite you to notice how that feels. Notice if it feels uncomfortable at all. Meeting the uncomfortable places is one of the most powerful things you can do. Feel your seat on the seat, feel your breath, This isn't the lightest eclipse to move through. So if there's something you're connecting to that has some juice, that has some depth to it, you're probably on it. Take a moment and feel your breath. Take a moment and just tune into your jaw. See if it can be easy and heavy and relaxed. And can you notice how this experience or thing you've identified feels or lives in your body? Does it have a texture, a shape, qualities to it? Can you be with the energy just a bit more? Can you feel your feet on the floor, feel your seat on the seat? Feel this thing that you're experiencing and mastering. Feel it in your body and feel yourself here as the human, transmuting and living and moving through this energy. And take just a moment there and see if you can stay with that energy and notice if it shifts in some way. The beautiful thing about coming present to the energy of what's here is when you can truly meet it in the body, the energy is going to shift. It will. And see if you can notice if there's any little bit of change. And notice if your body wants any movement or release in any way, whether that's sound or breath or a shaking or trembling, or even laughter or tears. Take a moment to allow whatever's there to be present, to give it some space. You can give it more if you like. Pause this if you need more time. And give yourself a moment to choose intentionally to release and clear anything that doesn't serve your highest expression, your highest creativity, uniqueness, clarity, service, love, and essence of you coming through, coming forward in this eclipse and beyond. So take a breath into that. And as you do that, before we close, I want to also invite you to notice your relationship to power with this eclipse. Because when Pluto is involved, there is your power is coming into play, your relationship to your personal power. When you're out of touch with your own connection to your true power, it tends to show up in power struggles on the outside. Or maybe it's a power struggle with yourself, wanting something and fighting yourself over it. Maybe it's with a situation outside of you. Can you drop in and also feel if there's anything like that going on for you as well? And take a moment just to breathe into your body, breathing all the way down, dropping in. And notice what your relationship is to power and if there is any sort of a power struggle that is also ready to be released. And what that looks like for you to step more into your own mastery of owning all the energy that you are and taking back any spaces where you've given your power away. Notice what that might look like for you and where you might need to reclaim some of your essence. So breathing into that, you can journal more on this if you need or choose. And choosing in this moment whether you consciously know everything processing in this eclipse or not. And probably it's more than you're conscious of. But even still, you can breathe into the intention that anything and everything that doesn't serve your highest good moving forward now can release, can clear. And allowing a few easy clearing breaths to drop through, to clear the space around you, to fill the energy with your own light, your own clarity, your own truth moving forward. And notice as you do that, what's the vision you're calling in? There's so much more space when you clear and release this energy out after an eclipse. And take a moment to tune into what new form of your highest good, your highest destiny, what you're here for, wants to be called in now. Our next full moon is in Aries, where you'll harvest all that you've transformed in this cycle. So I'm going to invite you now to tune into what is the next phase of what you're calling in and breathe into that. Thanks so much for being with me here. And please like and subscribe if this has been helpful. And we'll talk about that powerful Aries new moon in a couple of weeks. Sending you loads of love and support as you breathe through and move through this powerful eclipse season. Take great care.